Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take the head off of this Slant 6, figure out why we don't have any compression. Let's get to it. If you've been following this channel for any amount of time, you'll know that last year I checked the compression in this engine. While it's running, it has at least 2 dead cylinders. Dead cylinders indicate a couple of possible things. One, you might have a burnt valve. Second, you might have a cracked head. Or third, you might have bad rings. Now, on this one, when I start it up, I get no smoke out the exhaust. That tells me it's very unlikely to be rings. If a ring was broken, we'd be getting oil up into the combustion chamber, and it'd smoke when we did that. So I don't think it's the lower end. If it was a cracked head, it's possible that it could go directly out, but typically you'll have some compression that leaks off, and oftentimes you'll get either oil or coolant into the combustion chamber. If it's coolant, you'll see white smoke out the exhaust. Don't see that. So if I was a betting person, I'm going to guess it's got burnt valves. Regardless, it's a head problem, so we need to get this head off, get it onto the bench, take a look at it. I've got a second head sitting there that I'm going to rebuild, and between the two of them we should be able to build something that can go back on this and get it running. First order of business is we need to drain coolant out of the radiator so that at least the coolant level is below the head. Doesn't have to be completely drained, but we at least want to drain all of the coolant out of the head so when we take it off it doesn't make a big mess. While it's draining, take off the air cleaner, maybe the carburetor if it's in the way, but the intake manifold has to come off, so do the headers. See, the headers are disconnected here and here, but they're still bolted on down at the collectors down there. I'll take the valve cover off and valve train. Once I take the head bolts off, I can take this head up and out, and it'll pull these studs out. I'll just leave the headers here. It's worth mentioning here that this bypass hose right down here, this is a real pain to get off if you don't have either the water pump or the head off. It's also hard to get on. So what I'll probably do is just cut this. It's just a piece of heater hose. That way I can take it off with the head, and then I'll put a new piece in before I put the head on, and then drop it down in so this hose nipple goes right down into it. There's an alternator bracket right here. It's the upper alternator bracket. It's bolted to the head. That needs to come off. So I'm going to take the alternator off. Before you do that, disconnect the positive terminal from the battery so you don't short anything out. The spark plug wires appear to be a little bit baked onto these plugs. They're a pain in the ass to get off at any rate. So I'll probably leave them attached. I'll just disconnect the distributor cap from the distributor. So the plugs, plug wires, and cap will just all come up with the head. In the end, it was just easier to remove the alternator and the bracket. That guy there. I feel it was just going to be in the way down here. The coil was also mounted up in there, so it would have been in the way. I just got all of that stuff out of the way. Now, just going to take off the valve cover so we can get to the valve train, and then we can pull out the head bolts and take the head off. It looks relatively clean, but the reality is this motor, I'm sure, has less than 1,000 miles on it since it was built. I did not do the build, so I really don't know what it's going to look like inside. Next, we'll pull off the rocker arm assemblies, pull out all the push rods. Alright, everything should be unbolted. Now we just need to break it free of the gasket. Of course, it's, in the middle of the engine compartment, so you have to lean over to get to it. And I'm old. That's going to suck. These things are effing heavy. Alright, we got the head off and out. Let's just do a quick visual on the pistons here and the cylinders. The bores are nice and smooth. There's no ridge at the top. Not a surprise, because again, this thing is supposed to be rebuilt. Can't really read it in the camera, but yeah, you can kind of see that right there. It says 060. So this guy's bored out quite a bit. I think 060 oversize is the largest piston you can get. Any further in this guy, I'd have to get sleeved or just scrapped. Let's go take a look at that head. I've not rolled this over yet, so we get to discover together. The valves all look good, so I was kind of hoping to see a burnt one. There are a couple other reasons that we might not get compression. One could be that the valves aren't closing all the way. This has adjustable rockers, so if the rockers were adjusted so that the valves never fully closed, you would get no compression. I don't think that was the problem, because it ran fine just for a while, and it gradually got worse. So I think the valves were probably correct. There are a couple of things that I look at right now, and I see that are pretty suspicious. This area right here, this area right here, this right here. Let's get a little closer and look at those. But then we'll take a look at that head gasket, and you'll go, oh yeah, there's the problem. You can see it suspiciously looks like something was sleeking past here and here. Notice you've got this nice witness for the metal ring in the gasket, and it's missing here. So it looks like it was blowing from here to here and probably back. Doesn't look like it was getting all the way up to this. Yeah, that's a head bolt hole, so I don't think there was anything other than just the bolt there. Here, looks the same. Look at that. And that. This is what you would expect it to look like. You've got this witness mark all the way around. Whereas here, that looks horrible. Again, witness mark looks fine here. And oh my God, look at that. You can even see it looks like the swirl marks of compression going across. So this is also bad. Now, let's take a look at that gasket that came out. And I am fairly certain it was just like this. Look at that. Holy crap. I mean, the gasket's just gone. It's all right there. Look at it here. The compression actually looks like it physically blew this out. And it did the same thing here. Look at that. And it's just completely missing here. So, as you can see, this head had to come off no matter what. I wonder if the head itself is not true, if it's warped or something. Hard to say. For some reason, we had some serious head gasket blow by here. I mean, it went. So this had to be done. So there we go. That explains why we had no compression in 1 and 2. We probably had compression in 3, probably nothing in 4, or low in 4, 5, and 6. So the reality is this thing was probably running on like 1.5 cylinders. It's a Slant 6. I still drove it to and from the alignment shop just like this. Got me there no problem. Gotta love them. But that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching.